Hi everyone, Danny here, and today I want to talk to you about which ink to use when, because there's so many different types of inks, even just in the Close to My Heart range, and a few of my customers often say to me, which one am I using now, Danny? So I wanted to talk through it. Now, Close to My Heart did release a little while ago this which ink I should use chart, which is really helpful, and the other one that I've been using with my customers is this particular one, just because it goes through the different black inks, because there are 5 different black inks in our collection, and talking about what they do. So I'm going to talk you through some of that now. So the first one that most of you will recognize is any of our water-based dye inks. So these are all acid-free, they're fine for your cards or scrapbooking. And so they're all in our magnetic closure cases. So with these inks, being a water-based dye ink, it's good for stamping sentiments and other images that you're not going to colour over with markers or watercolour or anything like that. So good for cards, tags, everyday sort of use. This water-based ink in any of the colours, because there are 42, 43 different colours in our range in a water-based ink, it soaks into the paper. So it's not so great if you're trying to stamp onto darker colours. And I'll come back to a second option when stamping on darker colours. The Archival black ink, so this is fantastic for your scrapbooking. So that word archival, so you're wanting it to last years and years and years and years and years. And so this is a solvent-based permanent black ink. Again, it's an acid-free, so fine. It's waterproof, light fast, fade-proof, and of course archival. So as I said, recommended for stamping on your scrapbook pages. Also good if you're stamping on vellum. All right, so if you like to stamp on vellum, ideal for stamping images with some staying power. All right, so again, in the magnetic closed case, and you can see this, I use this a lot. All my black inks are quite loved. This is our intense black ink. Again, it's a solvent-based permanent ink and acid-free, and again in our magnetic closed case. This is ideal for stamping with images that you want to then colour with markers or watercolour, so any sort of moist, wet mediums that you want to be using. Stamp with the intense black, let it dry. You can also heat set it with a heat tool if you wish, and then you can be going on and colouring. I tend to just stamp my things and leave them for half an hour or so before I colour them. Then you have our pigment ink. It is available in black, but I discovered this morning that for some reason I don't have the black one. So I'm just showing you the Espresso today. So again, in our magnetic closure cases. So these are actually quite a thick ink, and I'm going to regret this later, I'm sure, when I stick my finger in this to try and show you, but it's a very wet, thick ink. So this is available in a number of different colors in our range. I'm just going to wipe my finger before I put it everywhere else. And it's perfect when you're trying to stamp on darker colors and things, because the inks sit on top of the surface of the paper. It still dries reasonably quickly, but it doesn't soak in like the water-based inks. The other thing you can do with it too, it's permanent on porous surfaces after heat setting if you're doing other than paper. But you can also use it with like the embossing powders, because it takes that bit longer to dry. You can pour the embossing powders onto it and then heat set. All right, the other one that I wanted to talk you through is the Stazon ink. So this is a permanent black ink, great for anything that is kind of shiny. Now I'm going to bring in my sample for you. This is actually an offcut from a photo that I've just used in my sample, and I've actually used the Stazon ink to stamp directly onto my photos. But you can stamp on plastic, metal, glass, ceramics, laminated paper, your shiny coated papers like your photos, leather, or any other non-porous surface with your Stazon ink. It does stain your stamps exceptionally, like a lot, if you don't have the proper cleaners and things. So there is a Stazon cleaner available with that. Blacks in general will tend to stain your stamps a bit. They tend to make your stamps look a bit purple. But again, you've probably heard me say it in the past, it just makes your stamps look loved. At least you're using them. The other ink that is another different one in our range is our Versamark ink. So like and mine's very, very loved, and I can tell you that this color doesn't transfer onto any of my next projects. It's amazing. This ink is clear can't even see that, but it's thick like the pigment ink, takes a while to dry. So it's perfect with embossing powders, particularly your coloured embossing powder. So with a pigment ink, because it's already coloured, you would use a clear embossing powder. But with the Versamark, because it's clear, you can then be adding any colour embossing powder you like, or you can stamp on coloured things and then still go over with the clear embossing powder just to give like a shiny surface once you heat set them. I hope that's helped you guys a bit when choosing inks, because I know that there are so many in the range that you sort of go, oh, what do I use? If you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like copies of any of my sheets, let me know that as well in the comments, and I'm happy to help you out. Have a great day. Bye.